People love true crime. They love it so much that there are entire cable channels filled with nothing but true crime docuseries after true crime docuseries. We have a weird, morbid fascination with shows about grisly murders and pioneering forensic technology and psychopathic killers brought to justice. People love this stuff in scripted shows with episodes ripped from the headlines, but we're even more fascinated when it's real. Netflix is the home of some of the most popular true crime shows around, with gigantic hits like Making a Murderer and the infamous Tiger King. They have a track record of cranking out true crime shows that seem to master walking that line between the empty schlock of a third-rate cable network and the prestige TV of, say, an HBO. But how do they do it? What makes a Netflix crime docuseries different from Southern Fried Homicide or Forensic Files? I have a few ideas, so let's get into it. Pretty much every big-time true crime docuseries can trace its DNA back to 1988's The Thin Blue Line, a documentary so revolutionary that even the Academy didn't really know what to do with it. It was famously denied consideration in the documentary category because of its use of reenactments and its moody score and lighting. It was a major departure from the raw and real cinema verite style of the past, and it brought in elements of fiction filmmaking to argue a point: that an innocent man was about to be executed for a crime he didn't commit. Most true crime shows on cable are just narration over reenactments with the occasional talking head interview from a person who might just be tangentially related to the story. But some of the best true crime shows seem more influenced by The Thin Blue Line in that they use a combination of interviews and aesthetics of fiction to keep us binge watching until Netflix has to ask us if we're still conscious. The most popular shows are usually the ones with strong characters, if you will. In a docuseries, these are real people, but they're not usually like people we know. They're a little odd, something about them is a little different, or the story centers around a regular person who one day snapped and did something horrific. These personalities are part of why the shows are compelling. Can you imagine Tiger King, but Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin are just regular, everyday people like your friends or coworkers? The entire story wouldn't even exist without those extreme personalities. But that's not to discount the importance of story. A good true crime series might be about crimes that we've heard of or seen before, but there's always some twist or turn that takes the narrative to a place we didn't expect. In Netflix's Evil Genius, for example, you know you're going to watch a story about a pizza delivery guy who had a bomb strapped to his neck and was forced to rob a bank. But that bizarre crime is only the tip of the iceberg for how crazy the story really gets. As you dig deeper, you're introduced to new people and diabolical side plotting and fascinating backstories that give you a larger picture of how all this went down. The idea of documentaries as objective truth is not really a thing anymore, and we're pretty aware that we're watching an opinion. But with true crime, that usually speaks to our desire for justice. We want to believe in justice, now more than ever, and we want these stories to wrap up with the good people catching the bad people, even when we know that's not always the case. Pretty much every true crime documentary or series has a perspective, and they're leading us to some kind of conclusion, even if it's a depressing conclusion about how an innocent person paid the price for a crime they didn't commit, or a guilty person walked away free. Sometimes the conclusion can make you so angry that the story has to continue, and we'll get a second season about people trying to right the wrongs we saw in the first run. That's usually the conclusion that the filmmakers believe, and that's the perspective that they're showing us. And we usually want the resolution that the series has been leading us to the whole time. So I guess what I'm saying is the best true crime shows combine elements of journalism with the style of fiction filmmaking to give us a story that provokes emotion, to keep us engaged and interested. And that interest can carry on well after the credits have rolled. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.